All right, and we are here. Last show of the year. This is our last show of the year. Welcome to After the Whistle. This is how many days before Christmas? 2?
Yeah, 2.
2.
Yeah.
I ain't do no Christmas shopping yet, so what you get is what you get, people. Yeah, this is our last show of the year, and we got a lot to talk about. I'm here. Todd's here. Hopefully he got his Christmas shopping done. All right.
I push the line, so like. Crunch time's what I do things.
I might do mine on day of at this rate.
I know I'm getting a couple gifts at the day after Christmas though. Get a couple the day after.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, COVID made it so you have an excuse to not really want to go shopping. You can tell people you get your gift when you get it. I shouldn't be looking at you anyways. So unless it's immediate family, then everybody else can wait for their gift.
That too. So, well, Pats fans, we won't be getting no type of gift because Patriots season is pretty much, they got 2 games left, but any hopes of the postseason got thrown out the window after Sunday's game against the Dolphins, and that's 2 games in a row that they failed to score a touchdown, and that's kind of been the trend for this team. After that Chargers game, they put up 45 points, give people a little glimpse of hope, and maybe they could do something, and then they get brought back down to reality and lose on the road to Miami for some reason. They never win in Miami. Even when Brady was here, they just never win in Miami. That's just, I have no idea. Well, I kind of have an idea why, but it's COVID, so I still have no idea why. So, but yeah, these guys, it was microcosm of the season. They just can't muster up any type of offense.
Yeah, when I found out they were making the playoffs, that they lost this game, I said the microcosm of the season as well is when Cam dove and tried to dive in the end zone the first game of the season and landed on the 2nd-yard line. So that's just kind of what it is. It was a year that everybody had to adjust. We're playing with a new quarterback because it's been, almost 20 years since we had a new quarterback. I don't like how people are talking so crazy about Cam because I'm like, we watched the man legit grow up in one system, so of course he's going to be the best in that system. He knows all the ins and outs, and it's catered to him. But, it's back to the Bledsoe days for right now.
Man, it's just ugly all around. They have going into the offseason, there's a lot of questions for this team, a lot of player development, this team got to do a lot of revamping, and things could change. A lot can change in the offseason depending on who you get, who you sign, and all that. But right now, they're just playing just to evaluate the players who they're gonna have come back next year. Cam Newton's one guy that people are pretty certain that. He's pretty much taking all the brunt of the blame for their lack of production on the offensive side. Quarterbacks get the majority of the blame anyway, so it's understandable. But some of the stuff, it's just kind of it's ridiculous. But there's probably a good chance that he'll be back next season because if you look at their draft position in the draft, and then you look at some of the free agent quarterbacks that are going to be on the market in the offseason, there's a good chance Cam will come back because there's not really somebody that you'll see out there that's going to be like, oh, he can help our team unless you make a trade for somebody or something. But he'll most likely be back.
And if I was Cam, I'd want to come back for one, the Patriots franchise, the stellar franchise. You know what I mean, top of the line.
Yeah. And
I'd want to redeem myself just because, usually I want quarterback in his first year with a new team. It doesn't go according to plan. Mm-hmm. Look at Brady. It's not even going according to his plan. They're better in the past, but he didn't think he's going to be having to win out to make the playoffs, especially with all that talent. So I would just say definitely give Cam another run with it. And I would also consider signing a guy by the name of Jameis Winston as your backup, just in case Cam doesn't go according to plan. You have a guy that actually prides himself on throwing the ball.
Yeah, throwing it. Don't know who's going to catch it, but he'll throw that ball. That's one thing we know about Jameis, and I don't understand why the Saints even bothered getting him if they're not even going to use him when you're starting quarterbacks out, and you're just, why even sign him? And that made 0 sense at all. But, yeah, they definitely have to look at our position because they have the running back. One thing about this team that we can look forward to next year is their running attack. That's settled. But in this era of football, you need guys that can make plays down the field. Just look at the Bills and how much improvement Josh Allen had just with the signing of Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen looks like he could possibly win the MVP. He's not, but he'll be in the conversation. You want to say this last year, because last year it was just like, dude, what is wrong with you? And now you get a receiver that can take the top off of defense, that can make plays. These guys need a couple receivers. They got good receivers, some not so good, but they just need that one receiver that, like a DeAndre Hopkins, like a Stephon Diggs, like you could just go out there. I'm just gonna throw it, no matter who's covering you. If it's double team, I'm just gonna throw it up there because I know you're gonna make a play.
No, I totally agree, because a lot of people say that quarterbacks make wide receivers, but wide receivers make quarterbacks as well.
Yeah,
it's like an equal marriage in regards to that. So and N'Keal Harry, no, what's his name, right?
Yeah, N'Keal.
He need to stop fumbling. That was it.
Yeah.
What happened the other night?
I don't think that was him. That was Myers. That was Myers. But Harry.
Yeah. Now, my apologies. I meant Myers though. That fumble was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, come
Even though Myers had a good game, but a lot of question marks for the Patriots. The Dolphins, kudos to them. They're still right now. They got the last wild card spot in the playoffs, so they better not slip up and lose any games because the Ravens are right behind them. So kudos to the Dolphins and Brian Flores for what he's doing. They've drastically improved since last year, but this is more so about the past because we don't care nothing about the Dolphins.
But if the Dolphins are winning, that means the league's in a good place.
Yeah. I say something else, but I can't say what I want to say because it's kind of crossing the line a little bit. There was an upset. Bruh, yo, I got a video coming out. It's gonna be a video comparing Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, the two first and second overall pick in 2016 draft. So, but basically, the video is basically summing up how come Jared Goff isn't getting the same amount of criticism that Carson Wentz has been getting for the last 2 seasons. Because Jared Goff has been an abysmal quarterback the past 2 seasons, but the media attention's been so much on Carson Wentz because it just came out of nowhere. Like Carson Wentz had been like the talking point of all the shows and stuff. Like, when like a quarterback is just like, he's just like, they just keep talking about him, like good or bad. It just seemed like out of nowhere it turned into Carson Wentz became that. And I was just like, but then we got Jared Goff, who has been horrible, and he was horrible on Sunday against the Jets. Out of all teams against the Jets, they were down 20-3 at one point.
Yeah, man. I don't understand. Only thing I will say, each region in the U.S., we critique a little differently. Up northeast, we are the hottest critics known to man. That's just what it is. New England, Philly, New York, we are the worst critics of all time, and that's probably why. L.A. a little more laid back, a little more understanding. Granted, they had their critiques because they're known for winning out there in that state as well. But it's just, I don't know. The cold just makes us angry up north, and honestly, I think that's part of it though. Like being in the cold, critiquing, everything is just. We're just very, very aggressive people.
And what's frustrating about the Rams is they have all the talent at every position on offense and defense. They have a top 10 defense. I think statistically, they're probably like one of the greatest defense in history, just statistically wise. But their quarterback's holding them back. There's no reason that they should lose to the Jets, especially when you're trying to win your division and get a home playoff game. Because right now Seattle's in first place in the division now. So these are the type of games you're supposed to win. You're not supposed to get down 20-3 to a team that's just been horrible all season. And for the Rams, this is why I'm saying this is why I keep saying I don't know who's gonna come out the NFC because none of these teams convince me that they could win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, one thing I'm reminding myself by watching this year for me is better than last year. Last year you knew who was gonna win. You kind of knew who the 4 best teams in the league were. This year you really don't know what's gonna happen. Granted, I didn't pick the Rams. No, I picked the Rams to beat the Jets, but during the weekend I was watching the game. I was like, Don out there balling.
Yeah.
So it's one of them things like these teams have players that they all get paid to play the game. Mm-hmm. So sometimes some teams just the better team.
Yeah, and with the Rams it's turnovers, quarterback getting sacked, and not running the ball enough. I mean, Cam Akers had a career day previous week against the Pats. You only give him the ball 15 times. You only run the ball 19 times as a team.
I noticed he had some tape on one of his cleats. I don't know if he might have been dealing with an injury.
Oh,
yeah,
maybe.
One of his cleats was completely taped. So he might have had an ankle injury last game.
Yeah, but for the Jets, I guess this could be a high point for their career. This messes up the whole tanking for Trevor thing. But kudos to them.
Dude, who else got one win? I don't understand this.
I think the Jaguars.
They don't got two.
Nah.
Bro, the Jets should just get it just cuz. But my whole thing is taking for Trevor. What happened to Sam? It's like his third year.
Yeah,
and he hasn't even been healthy.
I think this is his third. Yeah, this is his third year.
And he just beat the Rams.
Yeah.
Like,
he's always healthy. For him, I think it's coaching for him. Like he needs. He's had a couple different coaches already.
So basically, the franchise is the problem because he doesn't have what Brady had. A guy that raised him. He's dealing with new coaches every year. So it's like, how do you expect stellar play out of a man who doesn't even know really what the coach really wants out of him yet?
New coaches and then always injured too. It's kind of bad for the Jets. So we'll see. Maybe they get a competent coach after this season that could actually use his skill set. But whatever for the Rams. For Jared Goff, he's just lucky he don't play on the East Coast or in the Northeast. Cause
that is correct.
Because
he get the hammer.
Man. All right, and another upset: the Bengals over the Steelers, and the Steelers have lost 3 straight. They've completely lost. They're pretty much out of getting that number 1 overall seed in the AFC, and the Browns are creeping up on them for that division. The Browns are 10-4. The Steelers are 11-3. So they have to. These last 2 games are really important, but they're playing the Colts with the number 1 overall defense, and then they play the Browns. This is the last 2 games. So they gotta win out, but they look horrible. They looked horrible. Yeah,
they're taking steps back. They were looking like one of the better. Yes, they were looking as one of the better teams in the league. In the past 3 games, they're digressing. They're stumbling into the playoffs. That's not how you want to finish the year strong. You want to finish the year strong going, I want to say, full throttle.
Yeah, especially, December is the time you play your best football, and it seems like they're not playing their best football. Also, it doesn't help they lost Bud Dupree, one of their best linebackers, and Devin Bush, another good linebacker. So they lost 2 key guys on defense. That's kind of why their defense has been struggling a little bit. But their offense, they just refuse to run the ball. They don't like to run the ball for some reason. They just don't. They just choose not to run the ball, and it shows because whenever they try to do a play action, the defense isn't biting, and it's a struggle. And if you're just gonna drop back and pass all day, that's easier for the defense to just tee off on you.
Yeah, it's common sense, man. You have running backs. You get your quarterback. You're able to run the ball, able to pass the ball. You have 2 options every down. Mm-hmm. Keep them guessing. It's no different than a punch and a kick in a fight. Yeah. You don't know what I'm gonna throw. I'm throwing both of them things at you.
Definitely.
So, and it's like, I think they're trying to bring him back. I don't mean bring him back like in the league. They're trying to make him Ben again. You know what I mean? Based on that's too late. He old.
And it doesn't help that you turn the ball over 3 times. That's not gonna get it done at all. And any receivers for some reason seems to not be able to catch the ball anymore. But I just want you to know they got cooked by Ryan Finley, who had a total of 89 yards the entire game, 89 yards passing for the whole game, and Gio Bernard, who carried the ball 25 times for 83 yards. Gio Bernard is used as a third down back, run short yard screen passes, one of those guys that can do it all. Not a guy that carries 25 times.
I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, and they just worked the Steelers defense. It was pretty embarrassing for the Steelers. So they got some stuff to figure out these last 2 games, but it's not going to be easy going up against the Colts because the Colts, they're the number 1 ranked defense. Their defense made another play on Sunday to beat the Texans, and they got a good running game. So, good luck. Good luck, Pittsburgh. All right. The team that's pretty much, I think, is going to win, well, not that I think, a lot of people think it's pretty much going back-to-back, is the Kansas City Chiefs, and they really look unstoppable now. I think they capped off all their road games, so they went 8-0 on the road. The last team to go 8-0 on the road, I believe, was the Patriots.
You won't be surprised.
The undefeated year, when the Pats won, I think the Pats scored 39 points per game, or scored 40 points per game and averaged 400 yards per game on the road. And this Chiefs team is 30 points per game and 300 something yards per game. So these guys are tough to beat, and the way Mahomes is playing, the way Travis Kelce is playing, just the way this offense is rolling right now. We just talked about how December is when you play your best football. These guys are playing their best football right now.
Yeah, man. What's up with the Saints, though? They forget that Kamara was a stellar back about.
Remember what I told you about them?
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah. You know what? Not gonna say anything because we don't have much confidence in them anyway.
No.
So let's talk about the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Mahomes out there balling, man.
And he didn't turn the ball over this game. I think last week he had 3 turnovers last week, and this team, they don't turn the ball over much, and they just use their weapons so well. I mean, Edwards-Helaire, he got hurt in the game, but it's only an ankle, so he'll be back. And in comes Le'Veon Bell, who had himself a pretty decent game and had the game-sealing first down run. So it's like this team is pick your poison. What are you gonna do?
And too, like for them to have the MVP, best quarterback in the league, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP as well.
Yeah.
And for him to throw the ball 47 times, that's a little bit much. But they ran the ball 41 times.
Yeah.
If you're doing this with the best quarterback in the league, why can't other teams get a grip and understand what's going on? Like,
I have no idea. And the way they use everybody on their offense, because you got Mecole Hardman, he's carrying the ball. Tyreek Hill, he's getting some carries. And then in the pass game, it's like you play man-to-man, you can't cover these guys man-to-man. Somebody's going to get open. You play zone, Mahomes is going to find the open guy in the zone. So right now, it's pick your poison. And the only way to beat a team like this, keep Mahomes on the sideline, which is what happened the last time they lost a playoff game. The Patriots, of course. What did the Pats do? They kept them on the sideline for the majority of the first half, built a big enough lead, and were able to hold off their comeback, even though the game went to overtime. But they kept Mahomes off the field for the majority of the first half because they were running the ball.
You know what I like about the Chiefs, though? I like that Andy Reid allows Mahomes just to be creative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't always have to stick to the route because sometimes the routes get covered.
Yep.
So you got a secondary route, third route, something extra. You got to make a play. And I like that he allows him to do that. Sometimes it backfires for a 20-yard loss, but he gets that back in the next play.
And Mahomes, what he does well is he doesn't really make bad plays. Like, if it's not there, it's not there. He'll throw it away, and he won't take any unnecessary sacks. He won't take any unnecessary hits. And if he takes off, he knows when to get out of bounds or slide. So it's just, good luck trying to beat this guys, because,
it's good luck, man.
It's good luck. I mean, if there's a team that people keep saying the Browns are the biggest threat to them. I honestly, I don't think so. The Bills, maybe the Bills, just because of how they're playing, but we saw them play the Bills and they just ran all over the Bills. So
sometimes you never know. Sometimes it might be an awkward matchup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get the Chiefs off guard.
And that's the craziest thing about postseasons, like NFL postseason, March Madness. It's just like it's one game, so you're going to be off for like a quarter or a couple quarters, and you might be down a deficit. You come back, and then it's like it's too late and then your season's over just like that.
But football is a little different than they say in the NBA, the best team usually wins that series. In football, though, the best team usually wins in the playoffs.
Yeah. And usually if it's not the best team, they probably lost because of a matchup.
So there's not much wiggle room for I want to say miraculous stuff happening in the NFL playoffs.
The only time that happened is we don't talk about that because that only happened once.
You mean twice? Yeah, twice, brother. The only reason why they got him.
Yeah, twice. Why'd I even bring that up? Okay, so the Green Bay Packers have taken sole possession of the number 1 seed in the NFC, and they're kind of rolling right now, but once again, I don't trust no teams in the NFC because they had a big lead on the Panthers, and then the Panthers defense kind of figured them out in the second half, and they only held them to 3 points in the second half. Granted, the Packers still went on to win the game, but the Panthers defense figured out something, and the Packers, I don't know, they just, I don't know if they took their break off the gas or whatever, but you can't do that in football, and I'm just a little worried about all these teams, but Aaron Rodgers had another great game. I think he threw his 40th touchdown pass. I think he became the first quarterback to have 3 40 touchdown pass season. So kudos to him. And I'm honestly thinking it's going to be a co-MVP season with him and Mahomes.
Yeah, I could see that. When you were saying about taking the foot off the pedal and hitting the brakes, I think they're trying to, I want to say, save Rodgers a little bit because, high demand throws a lot. Now you got to, I want to say, balanced offense. So allows him to be I can't even talk right now. Be a lot fresher
Yeah.
And when you got Jones carrying the ball 20 times, getting 145, you don't really have to rely on Rodgers like they have been in the past.
Yeah, this year's Packers team, from the last several years, they have an all around balanced team on offense. They could run the ball, they could pass it, they could go deep, they could go short. They got a tight end who can make plays. They got one of the best receivers in Devontae Adams. So they got weapons everywhere, and they're utilizing them. But I think they're the kind of team that needs the home field advantage, because I think if they go on the road, they might have a hiccup on the road. We've seen it happen in the season where, when they went down to Tampa, when they went to Indy, and they had some hiccups there. But Aaron Rodgers, he's just playing great football right now. As much as I criticize him, people think I'll be hating on him. I just like to state out facts. But 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I think the best I've seen since that was like 27-2 that Nick Foles had. And I think Brady had one when he went 28-2.
Okay.
28-2, but 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. That is just some crazy numbers. And for him to be able to bounce back, because he did talk about he wants to win MVP this season. So
Oh, you did? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he talked about that in the offseason. So this is no better way to do it than the way he's playing right now.
Yeah, and I like how you said the home field advantage, because nobody wants to go into Green Bay in the wintertime.
Nope.
Nobody does.
Nope. It's too cold out there.
Maybe Buffalo, but like up north teams, but nobody really wants to play in that cold. That cold is different. Like
yeah, that Canada wind coming in. but they have a tough one. Derrick Henry and them boys are coming to Green Bay this Saturday. So this Sunday, primetime game. So they need to win these two. They need to win these two. One of these last 2 games, because they close out at Chicago, and they always beat the Bears. So they need to win this game just so they could get that first round bye, because I think it'll benefit them and it'll benefit Aaron Rodgers more if he gets that first round bye. So we'll see what happens. And the Atlanta Falcons once again blew another big lead against Tom Brady. Yeah.
I mean, it really isn't much to talk about. The Falcons blowing leads. They've been blowing every lead since the Super Bowl. Since the Super Bowl, they've been like, I don't know what happened. Like, they've been on a Super Bowl, like, high. I don't even know what to say, because they haven't been the same since then.
They really haven't. It's like, how many times can you blow big leads like this? And remember when Craig said that he doesn't think Bruce Arians is a good coach, and I see what he's talking about, because they finally made some adjustments, but they literally don't make no type of adjustments offensively and defensively. They don't. It's always, we're gonna bombs away on you. We're going deep, and then on defense we're gonna play man and blitz. And even when it's not working, they finally made adjustments in the second half, but like you just. It makes no sense to me that this could be the game plan all the time. Like, this doesn't win. This isn't gonna win you championships, especially if you want to make a run. You just can't drop back and try to chuck the ball up like that. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know how long he's gonna be there. I don't know how long Matt Ryan's gonna be there, because Matt Ryan's been there forever. I'm glad he threw some touchdowns today, because he's known for having 200, 300 yards or no touchdowns or 1 touchdown. Yeah. So I don't want to say that Atlanta should probably clean house, because they have Ridley. He's a wide receiver, but you probably need to get a new coach and a new quarterback. I think it's time.
They will be getting a new coach. The coach right now is an interim coach, and they're getting a new GM. There's gonna be some cleaning house.
Yeah, you got to clean house. Keep the young players that could prosper in the future, but you got to clean house. Like, y'all ain't been the same since the Super Bowl.
This is received by the name of Julio Jones on the team. Slide over here.
Get you some hand warmers.
We need somebody. We need somebody like him over here. And for as crazy as the Bucs season has been, they still have a chance to win their division because of the Saints' poor play the past couple games.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Like, they still have a chance to win the division. I think they're the number 6, or I think they're the number 6 seed right now in the wild card.
But where are those people saying that the Buccaneers are gonna run through the NFL now that they got all this talent, and you see they struggling just like everybody else. Everything's an adjustment. It might not be as bad as Cam's, but it's an adjustment.
They could have ran through everything if they didn't want to just chuck the ball 100 times down the field the whole game. Like,
You know what happens when Brady come to town? It's like Michael Jackson coming to concert. You know what I mean? They get excited. They want to see a moonwalk all day. He got more to offer than that. Like,
I really don't get the adjustment. Even if I was a coach, I can make that adjustment. Oh, we can't be throwing the ball.
And he's older. You gotta, but.
How many times did he throw this game?
45. He's throwing his age almost.
Yeah, that's.
Right.
Yeah,
and then Fournette got 14 carries.
Yeah, Ronald Jones. I think Ronald Jones was hurt. So let's go to Mia because I don't understand. I don't understand that. Mia Lynn with the sports update. We're gonna come back talk about the NBA season opener.
Good afternoon and welcome to this week's segment of New England Sports Scores and Updates. I'm Mia Len and today I'll be breaking down the latest in the sports world over the last week. To start off, let's review the final college football rankings. Sitting at the top with an undefeated record is Alabama, followed by Clemson, who moved up to number 2, then Ohio State, who jumped to number 3, and Notre Dame, who fell to number 4. The rest of the top 10 was finalized as follows: Texas A&M at number 5, Oklahoma at 6, Florida at 7, Cincinnati at 8, Georgia at 9, and Iowa State at number 10. Next up, the BC men's basketball team captured their second win of the season Tuesday afternoon in a matchup against the Black Bears of Maine. The final score was 78-62. Playing well for the Eagles was CJ Felder and Jay Heath, who combined for 30 points and 8 rebounds. Also making solid contributions for the team were DeMar Langford Jr., who notched 8 points and 6 rebounds, and James Karnick, who recorded 10 points and pulled down 7 boards. The Eagles overall shot almost 45% from the field and 28% from three-point land, while leading the Black Bears in assists, blocks, and steals. The team also limited their turnovers to 11 compared to Maine's 24. BC now sits with an overall record of 2-5 as they have the next week off before their next matchup against NC State on the 30th at 8 p.m. Lastly, the Northeastern Huskies lost in a matchup against the undefeated Bulldogs of Georgia in their 5th game of the season on Tuesday night. The final score is 58-76. Despite it being a fairly close game in the first half with a halftime score of 45-32 favoring the Bulldogs, Northeastern was only able to notch 13 points in the second half. Despite the loss, the Huskies had some key performers in Tyson Walker and Jameel Telfort, who recorded 19 and 15 points respectively. While those were the only 2 Huskies scoring in double figures, Shaquille Walters pulled down 7 rebounds in addition to 7 points. Northeastern shot 37% from the field, 46% from three-point range, and 50% from the charity stripe, only taking 4 free throws the entire game. Additionally, the Huskies were out-rebounded by the Bulldogs' 41 boards compared to their 30. They now sit with a 1-4 record as they head into a 10-day hiatus with their next game scheduled in the new year on January 2nd against Elon. That's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next week for another segment of New England Sports Scores and Updates. Now back to After the Whistle.
Thank you, Mia, for that. And we are back. And last night, the NBA season got underway. There was a doubleheader on TNT. The first game was Brooklyn and Golden State. Well, it wasn't much of a game because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving came out there scorching. Kevin Durant looked like he hasn't missed a beat. Kyrie Irving, too. They both were, that time off really benefited them.
Kyrie had like 26 and Durant 22.
Yeah, he had 24 in the first half. It was just, Kevin Durant is not much. There's no reason. A guy 7 foot should not be doing that. What he be doing there's really no reason why he should be pulling up the way he pulls up, but it's hard to stop and you can't block it.
Nah, he's a physical specimen, lengthwise. Like, I'm glad he's back.
Yeah.
I was watching the interviews. They saying he's been healthy. He was just more focused on just coming back the way he left.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Shop, and he's looking great out there.
Yeah, the Nets all around, they look great. It's only game 1. The Warriors, they got, if Steph's not on the floor, ooh. But I'll say this, Wiseman, he looked nervous. He looked nervous, which is expected. And then I think as the game went on, to the end of it, when he was playing those garbage minutes, he got a little more. I could see that he was like, okay, he got a little more confident and relaxed, and just let your first game jitters get out the way. He got out of the way. So his skill set is there to be a good NBA player. So.
Nah, they're gonna be all right. I like what I was gonna say is this year isn't as bad as the bubble.
Yeah.
But they have to travel and stuff. But I don't think this year is gonna be as stressful.
Yeah.
Just because like there's no fans, so they're still not being distracted as much as they usually are. So I feel like some young guys are gonna really be able to flourish a little more.
And I think there's more time off. But for Brooklyn, I like their squad. I like they got because with Durant and Kyrie, and then you got a Dinwiddie and LeVert. Those two guys right there. And then Joe Harris, he knocked down 40% of the. I think he led the league in 3-point percentage last year.
Joe Harris shoot that
40
thing.
something. Yeah, they got a good squad because they could sit Kyrie and Durant down at the same time, and they put in Dinwiddie and LeVert, and those guys are offense too. They could. I mean, Dinwiddie could create for others. He could create for himself, and LeVert he could just get buckets. So. This is
yeah, they're gonna be alright.
We'll see. And Steve Nash is just like he ain't trying to mess nothing up. He's like,
well, because he played, so he understands.
Just
sometimes less is more.
Yeah,
like I give him a couple sets, but I give him like 2 or 3 sets, but 5 looks out of each set. Yeah. Go ahead, do what you gotta do.
And you know what worried a lot of people is if they play the ISO ball, you know, Kyrie, but they didn't do that much. They moved the ball around, and you know. Durant, he only took 16 shots, so.
But that's just Kyrie's game, though. Kyrie and KD are the type of players to break you down and embarrass you out there. So you might as well just come strap up.
Yeah, but Kyrie said something in the post-game conference. He said he's not trying to play that way this year because he realized that's not.
But like him doing that is a lot different, I feel, than Harden doing that. Yeah. Harden would just play with the ball, play with it. Yeah. Kyrie's really trying to get by you. He's trying to get some space to pull up or really get by you. He's not sitting there lulling you to sleep. You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
so that was a good one. And then to cap it off, it was the Lakers and the Clippers. The Lakers got those bling, 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 bling. And I think they were blinded by the bling, bling because they came out, they were down 20 in the first quarter and made a run at it. But Paul George, he heard all the pandemic P talk because in the second half, he really, like the midway through the third quarter into the fourth, he really took over. I think he scored 26 in the second half. And he said like he's finally, you know,
comfortable.
Because the shoulder surgery and stuff like that. He said he's finally like comfortable. Healed. Fully healed and feels like he feels like his regular self. So they look good out there. Granted, it's only one game, but somebody said it best. They robbed us of a great Western Conference Finals championship for losing to the Nuggets because this would have been a great matchup.
Yeah, they did. I mean, he still got a little pandemic P in him when he threw the ball to the refs. Come on, bro. You knew he didn't have no blue or red on. Cut it out. But nah, man. I'm happy. I'm happy he's back. He's feeling healthy. A lot of people don't realize you have an injury, a gruesome one that forces you to heal for at least 6 to 12 months. It takes you legit a full year to fully mentally heal from that, not just physically. It's all about the mental power people usually heal. That's what some of y'all don't really understand. You say, oh, he can walk and talk fine and do this, but it's the mental power. Being scared to jump, being scared to lift a certain way because you know what that pain is like.
Yeah. And also, I didn't realize how deep this Clippers team was, but I forgot the addition of Ibaka and Batum was really going to be beneficial because Ibaka, he could stretch the floor more so than Montrezl Harrell did. And he played, I mean, he's a better defender than Montrezl, so that really helped because he was hitting, he got a few open shots and he was knocking them down. He got open threes and knocked them down. And then this guy, Luke Kennard, coming off the bench with Lou Williams, those two guys too, they could get their own shots. So they got a better squad than they have from last year's squad. Just like a better fit squad this year.
Then they got Zubac.
Yeah,
he's out here doing some things.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a tough team for the Lakers. I mean, it's just it's gonna take. I think LeBron's at that point in his career where it's kind of like a car that you've had for a while. You know it's good. It's just it's gonna take a little more time for it to get going.
Got to warm it up in the morning.
Yeah, and plus these guys he's got on a championship like 70 days ago or something like that. So it's expected, but we're all just glad that basketball is back. I mean, people be overreacting over one game.
Yeah, and they got a lot new players. Like they got to really some of these guys might be cool with each other, but you don't know him. Yeah. So you got to get acclimated to what he does on the court. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's like Shooter.
Custom, I mean.
Shooter and Harrell had pretty good games for them. But I mean, Shooter, he does a little more than what Rondo did, but I think they're gonna miss Rondo a little bit because Rondo just
his IQ.
And he got people that need to score the ball and put them in position.
Like Schroeder's a better scorer, just natural scorer, but Rondo's the brain. brain.
Yeah.
He's the IQ. He knows where everybody needs to be. So, yeah, it's a little different, but they're going to be all right.
Yeah, definitely. And lastly, Rudy Gobert got a max contract, I think $204 million Supermax, and everybody was just like, huh, what? And I said the same thing, but somebody pointed out, you can't attract free agents to Utah, so you might as well sign the guys that you got, especially if they're winning Defensive Player of the Year award. But he really doesn't give you much on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm still not over him crying that one time about All-Star.
But it's funny you say that too, because I was just thinking when I heard about him getting the max, I'm like, nobody. I mean, when you think of Utah Jazz, you think Stockton, Malone, Karolinko. You don't really think Hayward. Hayward was solid, but like, he was one of the better guys for the Jazz in the past years. But in all reality, I would have give it to him or wait a year and give it to Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mitchell got signed a deal.
He did? All right, then.
He signed an extension.
But on reality, though, Rudy is the biggest name that's been there for some time now. So it's like, you might as well give him his money.
Hey, man, everybody getting money. I need everybody getting money. Hey, we can't be mad at it. If somebody want to overpay you, why turn it down? Let's go to the +1. This is what Justin Walters covered the Nets. He was at the game last night, so we're going to talk to him about that and also the NBA season. And we're going to come back. I'm going to wrap this thing up for you people. Hello and welcome to another edition of the +1 interview. And today we got a special guest with us, CBS Sports, Mr. Do-It-All, Justin Walters. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Also got to throw in my other affiliate in there, Pix 11 News in New York City. But everything's going well. I'm trying to make the most out of 2020. Got to do the glass half full and be optimistic. I'm hopeful for what's on the horizon for us in the new year.
Definitely. I mean, we're here now. We're here. It's been a long 9 months, but we're getting through the year, and a lot of excitement surrounding the NBA season. I know us as fans and people who cover the sport were excited for the season opener last night. You were in the building last night. You got to see firsthand Kevin Durant's return to the court, the new look New Jersey Nets, and what a way for them to kick off the season.
Yeah, most certainly. Let's first speak about the oddness of the entire entering into the Barclays. So I had to get a rapid COVID test. It took about 6 minutes. Of course, I got a negative result, and I was fortunate to then be allowed to a section that was given to TV media. Of course, our seats are now socially distanced. There were no fans in the arena, but one of the stories that I did and the Nets did, which was really nice, is that they made sure that they honored and dedicated this season opener to essential workers. There were 62 essential workers in the building. So you got to make sure that we understand that, yes, a pandemic is taking place, but without their work, nights like last night weren't possible. Of course, a great first impression. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving playing together. Nets fans have been waiting for that night since the summer of 2019 to see them both together competing for a championship. And pretty much they exceeded expectations. Granted, it was against the Warriors, who were not at full health. Draymond Green didn't play. Klay Thompson also out with the ACL injury. But I think you have to be impressed on what they did. They were throwing up plenty of shots. And then the number one question was, how would Kevin Durant look not having played in basketball in 50+ days? And he showed. He's still KD. There's just some things you can't D. That pull-up that he has, whether it be on the baseline or just he dribbles you slowly before you hit the top of the key at the three-point line, deadly. He still has it. And what's really scary is that he's not at 90%, or he's probably at 90%, as Coach Steve Nash said. So wait until he gets reps, there's more game experience. Yeah, it's going to be over.
I was just talking about that with my friend. There's really nothing you can do with 7 feet with a 7-footer who could pull up like that. There's nothing you can do. You can't block it. You can't do nothing. Once he decides he's going to elevate and shoot over you, like, good luck, because you just got to hope he misses, because there's no way. You could be the greatest defender in the world. You're just not blocking that shot.
Yeah, it's like the saying goes, good defense, better offense. There's some things that you just can't defend or stop. It's not about stopping Kevin Durant. It's about trying to contain him. And honestly, just as a basketball fan and looking from an objective lens, it's nice to see him back out there. The game missed him. you forget how deadly of a scorer he was. And he's just a pure scorer, one of the best scorers of all time. A much different game than LeBron, a little bit more smooth and crafty. And his defense has improved immensely because of his Golden State days. So I'm really excited to see what this Nets team looks like.
Yeah, and looking at this Nets roster, I look at their roster and I'm saying to myself, these guys have every position locked down on every level. And they have two guys that when you sit Durant and Kyrie down at the same time, they could carry the scoring load when those two guys are out, and Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie, because those two guys, they've shown that they can create for themselves and they can create for others. And Spencer Dinwiddie, he's shown the ability to control the offense, to lead a team. So when you have Durant and Kyrie on the bench and you bring in those two guys, it'll be like the offense doesn't miss a beat. And then add Joe Harris. I think he led the league in three-point percentage, or was in the top 5 last year, shooting about over 40% last season. Those three guys right there, those are the guys, the glue guys that players like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving need for them to get to that level to play for a championship.
Yeah, I think it's also important that we don't overanalyze and just quick to rush to judgment just because this is a small sample size. It's one game. There are going to be 72 games this year. Also worth noting that both KD and Kyrie will not be playing all 72. You mentioned some of those glue guys earlier that aren't going to get as much of the publicity, but they are extremely important. And they're going to have an opportunity to show what they're made of when KD and Kyrie are not playing. This Nets team was forced to grow by fire last season, having Kyrie leave to a shoulder impingement, and then Karis leading the team, them getting a chance to play in the postseason, even though it was very short existence because they got bounced out by Toronto. Still, that experience was valuable. They're going to need Joe Harris to knock down those quick threes, for Karis to control the second unit. I'm still not sure if he's going to be part of that second unit full time. Last night's starting lineup had Spencer Dinwiddie in the starting lineup. I think Karis may eventually go and take that position because I think it's a really solid lineup. If you got Kyrie at the 1, Joe at the 2, 3 Karis, 4 KD, and DeAndre Jordan 5. And who knows, you can flip-flop between DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen. Yep. So there's going to be a lot of mix and matching. And remember, Steve Nash is a first-year head coach. He's going to be learning on the job. Unfair or fair, this season is about title expectations. There's an urgency to win. There are 4-year deals, or this is the second of a 4-year deal for Kyrie and KD. But Brooklyn, if they want to turn New York into a Nets town, this is going to be the first step of them controlling the first season of what everyone expected them to be. We've been waiting for this for a while.
Yeah, and what I noticed with Steve Nash in this coaching position, making his debut, is he just kept it simple. You know, sometimes when coaches, they get in a new position, their first-time coaches, they kind of oversimplify, overthink the game. But Steve Nash, he looked as if just like, I'm just going to keep it simple. Make sure my guys, my scorers get the ball and everybody else just do their job. And he doesn't overcomplicate what they need to do on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, there was no initial rust. A lot of the offense was making sure people could find their spots. There's going to be a lot of isolation basketball at times because you just have two great gifted scorers. It's less about the offensive sets. It's sometimes just get them the damn ball and let them go to work and cook up. There are going to be times that you're going to make sure that you run a play off of a screen, do some curls, etc. But everybody was able to play in last night's game. This wasn't the most difficult coaching for Steve Nash. He couldn't ask for better opener. But what's going to be important to analyze and make sure that we see how it progresses from game to game is plays that he runs out of the timeouts. What are they doing down in late execution? Calling timeouts to stop a run. Those are going to be the things that are really going to define if he's the right guy for the job, because there were a lot of candidates that really wanted this opportunity, and it was given to Steve Nash.
Definitely. And then in the second game of the night, we saw the Lakers get their rings, lost the game. I swear this is a trend in the NBA each year where a championship team, after a ring ceremony, they kind of lose on opening night. This has happened a few times the past couple years. And the Lakers just look rusty. They just didn't have it pretty much. They just didn't have it. It's one game.
It's just one. If it's one game, we can also look at what Paul George did. And are we going to believe that that's really the Paul George?
Yeah.
Who knows? He's playing better than he was in the bubble. So that's important. And he explained a lot of, or in extensive detail, some of the struggles that he had while out in Orlando and why his season just was so bad. And he put a lot of the onus on himself. But what it comes down to is which one of these teams is going to be better and more cohesive in that 7-game series, because most likely they're going to meet, unless maybe one of my sleepers in the West would be Dallas.
Okay.
If Kristaps Porzingis can stay healthy. You got a couple of other teams. I'm still not sure if the Jazz are ready to topple one of those teams, or even you can't undermine what Denver did as well last year. So we'll see. It's going to be a long season. A lot of these teams, it's going to take them some time to get their feet under them, because it was such a short off season. And once again, they're playing during a pandemic. They're not going to be able to operate usually how they would.
Yeah, and I like what you said about the Jazz not being sure. I'm just not sure, do they have enough offense to be able to compete with the Lakers or the Clippers or even the Nuggets, because we see their offense could get a little lackadaisical, just too much, give the ball to Donovan Mitchell. Let's see what he can do. Have they improved? They got Bogdanovich back. That team, I'm with you on that. I'm not too sure about them. Another team, you didn't bring up the Blazers. When I look at their roster, they seem like they could be a team that could make some noise, that could give some teams the problem, but do they have enough can they get over that hump? Because in the big games, it's like sometimes Dame and CJ, they kind of wilter and they fall back in the big games some of the time. So can they get to that level? Can they make that next step? The Blazers, a lot of people are high on them. If you look at their roster, you understand, but are they better than the Lakers? Are they better than the Clippers? Are they better than the Nuggets? That's the biggest question.
Yeah, I think they're just too reliant in terms of Portland we're speaking about on their top two guys, and that's CJ and Dame. You're probably not going to find a backcourt that's better than those two, but who's the next guy after that? You were hoping when you made the trade for Hassan Whiteside that he possibly could be one of those guys. Jokic is a solid player. Carmelo, you can't forget, but Carmelo is more like a utility option right now. He's going to make his spots, but you shouldn't be relying on someone at that point in their career who just doesn't have the same explosiveness that he used to have. But it's going to be an exciting season. I'm just glad to see the NBA back, and you're just hopeful that with them not being in a bubble this year, that they'll be able to at least get to the end, because there's going to be a lot of mixing and matching in terms of scheduling. And I don't think it's a matter of if a game is going to be postponed or rescheduled. It's a matter of when, unfortunately, because NBA rosters are much smaller than NFL rosters. And we've seen how much rescheduling the NFL had to do. So we're hopeful with this vaccine, but I'm just glad that basketball is back, man, honestly.
What do you make of this mess happening in Houston right now? We're hearing all these stories of Houston and this whole James Harden saga. What do you make of what is actually happening down there right now?
I think Houston holds all the chips. I'm not sure why James Harden is so disgruntled. As gifted as a scorer as he is, he can't begrudge the Houston organization because they have done their best to try to put pieces around him. Mm-hmm. So you start back when he started with the team, they acquired Chris Paul. You guys actually did work out. Your personalities just didn't mesh. He left. Now you tried Russell Westbrook. You guys just didn't work out at the beginning. But later on, once you played small ball, things were going well relatively. But once again, many times I found that James Harden in big moments has just faltered, even going back to his days in OKC. And now this year, they've tried to pair him with John Wall, who's a solid defensive player. Granted, he hasn't played in forever, and it remains to see how durable he's going to be this season. But he's extremely explosive, and I think his game, if anything, is more complementary to his game is more complementary, this being John Wall, to James Harden compared to Russell Westbrook, who's more ball dominant. John Wall is a much better distributor than him, but he wants out. I don't know who he thinks is going to trade the boatload for him. The Nets, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole easily. Yeah. When I saw those rumors coming out, I was like, don't make that mistake. Just don't do it.
Yeah, and then so you handle the West quickly with the Eastern Conference. Who do you think, right? Who do you think, who are your top three teams in the Eastern Conference that you think will have a chance at getting to the finals?
Milwaukee, Brooklyn, And then if we're going to go for a third, I'll say Miami.
Mhm.
I think it remains to be seen if Miami can go on another run, because they ended off very strongly and they were always a scary team to play with, and they match up well, especially against Milwaukee. But can they stay consistent? How does Tyler Hero take that next step forward? How does Jimmy Butler keep this team together? Goran Dragic got hurt down the end. If he has a full season, maybe they could keep it going. And then Bam Bam just got that contract extension. So I think that overall they have a core group, but that's easily probably the top three teams. Health-wise, of course, it's going to be making sure that KD and Kyrie are good, and there's going to be a game restriction for him, or limits for restriction. And then Milwaukee, man, I'm hoping for Giannis. But honestly, I was thinking about different comparisons of what his career could look like. And I think at fault, because he's such a loyal guy, he could turn into a KG. He can stay there for a long time and not get a championship until later on. Or another comparison could be Dirk Nowitzki, who was a great player, but it wasn't until later on that he beat the Miami Heat squad with Dwayne Wade and LeBron, and they came back down from, I think it was like 2-1 or something.
Yeah,
that was the year with JJ Barea and other players, even Tyson Chandler. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if him, Chris Middleton, and who else have they now had? They
Drew
have
Holiday.
Drew Holiday. Thank you. Are the formula? It's something different. I would definitely take Drew Holiday over Eric Bledsoe, but I'm not sure if that's it. Still, it's going to be tough. But yeah, man.
And then one last team is the Sixers. That's another team with a lot of question marks. They're part of the Harden rumor. New head coach in Doc Rivers. Return pretty much the same guys. You add in a couple shooters. You add in Danny Green, and you add in Seth Curry to surround Joel Embiid. But the biggest thing with the Sixers is, will Ben Simmons shoot the ball? Because that's one of the things that's holding him back, is his inability to shoot the ball, and Embiid's inability to constantly be engaged in a basketball game.
I think it's real easy to piggyback on that and jump on the bandwagon and let's all attack Ben Simmons, but it's just not about him. Embiid can use some improvement. Tobias Harris isn't an A option on teams, but he's getting paid like one. So you would hope that he can take his game to a next level or find different parts where he can pick apart. But on paper, his roster looks good. But sometimes the best team doesn't always comprise the best talented individuals. You have to find out who is a group that mixes together. And that's one of the difficulties that even like the Lakers are going to have to go through, because Rondo wasn't there. You got Dennis Schroeder, and you have Wesley Matthews and new players. So everyone's going to have to find their points, find their parts on the court or spots on the court. But just because you look at a roster and see that they have the best group of players doesn't mean that that group meshes well together. And that's what the Sixers have dealt with year after year, is that, man, it's like, it's just not working right now.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely going to be an intriguing season. I'm very excited about this season. It's going to be one of our better seasons, the better seasons that we have, because I think it'll be very competitive just because the circumstances, and there's no fans, which will be easier for some of the younger players, the rookies, to when they get in the game, nobody harassing them and stuff like that. I think that'll make it easier. So this season is definitely it's going to be an interesting season.
Yeah, most certainly. I'm beyond excited, and I'm hopeful that we can do our best to walk this tightrope all the way to the end. But the fact that basketball is back is beyond a blessing. But yeah, there's a lot of intrigue this year with teams knowing that pretty much everybody's back at full health. Obviously with the Nets, and then the Lakers trying to do a two-peat, the Clippers hoping that they have a resurgence with a new head coach. Yeah, this year is going to be special.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Justin, please let them know where they can find your work, plug in your social media, all that good stuff.
All the channels. It's Justin Walters TV, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Appreciate the follows. I follow back for the most part. I love questions. Engage me, whatever it is, man.
All right, man. Justin, thank you once again, man. Maybe we'll have a conference next year. We all see each other. Who knows? But until then, man, have a happy holidays. You and your family be safe out there, man.
Yes, sir, man. And please get that Christmas shopping out of the way.
I'll do it. I'll get it done. I'll get it done. You guys have been watching the Plus One interview. That's Justin Walters. I'm your host, Mukala. Have a great day. We are back. Thank you, Justin, for that. All right, so we're not gonna go around the world of sports, but just quickly, the only thing we'll do. Mia talked about this is the college football playoffs. Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Everybody's wondering how Notre Dame is in because they got their behinds whooped by Clemson, but that was their only loss, and I knew that was going to happen. Clemson had to pretty much win that game to get in because they were the only team with the loss, and if Notre Dame lost, they were still going to get in just because whatever.
Notre Dame's it's like the country's team.
Yeah, and everybody wants to see Notre Dame get their behinds whooped by Alabama. So good luck to them. You're in the college football playoff. Your reward, you play Alabama.
I'm glad they're finally in the conference, so they can.
It's rental.
You're right. It's only in it because of
Yeah, and then the Ohio.
He said it's rental.
And then Ohio State being in, I guess, but I mean they only played 6 games, but 6 games is all you need to be eligible for a bowl game. So
of course they would do that for them.
No, that's the rule. You know how these they have all these
bowls.
Man,
I ain't hearing that.
No, all these bowls and stuff.
I know what you're saying.
It's annoying.
But that's my thing. It shouldn't even be like that because when we were younger, there were less bowls, better teams, better games. You're giving these sympathy bowls for what, like?
Yeah.
The candy bowl and all this, like you 5-5. No, I thought you 6-5 or something, 6-6. Like, come on, bro. You serious?
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, some schools are mad about it. I mean, Texas A&M talking about they should be in it. Like, no. Cincinnati talking about they should be in it. Why? So you guys could get ran out the building? Like, no.
But this is the only year, though, where it should have been equal opportunity. And this be the one year you make it to the playoff and you get molly-whopped and understand why you guys don't make it ever again. That's what it should have been this year.
It should, man. It should, but... Like, they should look at film some games back then when they let one of these mid-major teams in a bowl game and they had to play against the big dogs and we saw what happened to them.
You don't fail it though. You gotta fail it. When you watch it, you're like, oh, I can break that. Nah, when you fail it, you're like, oh nah, I can't do that. I know that's Alabama way training. Like,
all right, quickly, we're gonna go to post game with Boston College men's basketball coach Jim Christian, and then right after that, we're gonna go into the top 10 plays of the week, and then when we come back, we're gonna wrap this thing up. Coach, you guys kind of started off a little rusty in the first half. Did you think that was just because you guys had so many days off?
Yeah, again, what you guys consider rusty, not rusty, is shots. So we didn't score, but we were guarding, we played hard, we were forcing turnovers. So you got to just bear with it. I mean, it's going to happen. And probably what you're saying is a little bit true. We haven't played in 10 days or whatever. And it's our second game on the court. We never practiced down there. So it's a little bit of that, but again, the good parts, I'm going to keep emphasizing. The good thing is when guys can play with a lot of defensive energy, when the shots are not going in, you're starting to build forward, and that's what I'm excited about. I think we have a good shooting team. We'll start making more shots, hopefully. But the defensive energy is what I wanted to see, and I think what they wanted to see from each other, and that's a really good step for us.
Coach, I noticed one thing with James. Whenever he gets in the game against the zone, he seems to always find ways to make himself available in the zone, and seems like when he's there, the team's playing zone against you guys, he finds ways to get the ball and also to make plays when he gets the ball.
Yeah, he's really good behind the zone. He's really good at finding holes back there. He's a really quick finisher. He's quick off his feet. And I think, we have a couple of guys. Winston Tabbs in particular is a really good. He's just finding windows at getting the ball to people in the zone. And I think they work pretty well together. Steph's pretty good in high post. Like I said, it wasn't, we just weren't making shots. I mean, those are shots that you would sign up for. I would sign up for every one of those shots against the zone after getting the ball, get the ball to good shooters. We just weren't making shots early. I think we shot 9 for 32 from 3, which is, we're a better shooting team than that. But you're going to have nights like that, and you got to respond.
We are back. Okay. All right. So last week's prediction. Me and Todd, we both went 10-6 last week. So hey, let's see if we can do better this week. Let me bring this up. But it's week number 16. The season is almost over, and man, things are going by. Things are going by. All right. We start off with Thursday night football. No. Not Thursday night football, Christmas afternoon football with the Minnesota Vikings at the New Orleans Saints.
What you mean you don't start Thursday night football?
Because they're playing Friday.
Oh.
It's Thursday night. It's Friday,
Oh, they moved it?
I guess.
Oh. See, I didn't know that part. Oh.
Me either. I just found out right now when I looked.
Okay, I got Minnesota.
You got Minnesota. I concur. I will go with Minnesota. Tampa Bay at Detroit Saturday.
I got Tampa Bay, man.
Yeah, Tampa, because Detroit is, they're sorry. San Francisco at Arizona. San Francisco's out of the playoff hunt. Arizona is still in it, so they need to win this to keep their playoff hunt.
I got San Fran upsetting them boys.
You got San Fran?
Yeah.
I got Arizona. Miami at Las Vegas. Also another team, the Raiders. They need to win to keep their playoff hopes alive.
You know, I got to rock with the silver and black,
Going
man.
with silver and black?
Got to.
I'm going to go with the silver and black, too. I was about to pick the Dolphins, but I'm going to go with the silver and black. I think Mariota's playing.
Yo.
Atlanta.
Man, kudos to you, Mario, man. You was balling the other night. All right.
Atlanta at Kansas City.
Oh, Kansas City, bro.
Yeah,
What?
Kansas City. Yeah. Cleveland at New York Jets. Will the Jets make it 2 in a row?
No. I'm going with Cleveland.
Same. I'm going to go with the Browns. Indianapolis at Pittsburgh.
I got the Colts, man.
I, too, have the Colts. Bears at Jacksonville. Toilet Bowl.
The Bears.
Yeah, Bears. New York Giants at the Baltimore Ravens.
Ravens.
Cincinnati at Houston.
I'm in Houston.
I'll go with the Bengals. Just because. Denver at Los Angeles Chargers.
And the
Chargers. Carolina at Washington. I'm going with Carolina because Washington's quarterback decided he's going to go to a strip club and all that other nonsense. And yeah. Wow. And then their owner, he's being investigated for sexual misconduct and all that. So
Jesus.
Yeah.
Why did you tell me all that before I picked?
Oh, my bad. You can still change it if you want.
Nah, I already picked them. I'm just going to rock with them.
Philadelphia at Dallas.
What is this? I'm going to go with Philly, man.
I'll go with Philly, too, because I just don't like Dallas.
Yo, Hurts was balling.
Hurts was balling. Hurts was balling. I just like that they were actually calling run plays now.
Yeah, they actually played football.
Los Angeles Rams at Seattle. The Rams need this one, but...
I got Seattle.
Me, too, because you lose to the Jets. I have no confidence in you. Tennessee at Green Bay.
Is the game of the week?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Green Bay this go around.
I'll go with the Titans just because Derrick Henry, he's probably going to get 2,000 yards.
It's cold out there, though.
Yeah, and they're going to hand the ball off to him.
But if they play in Tennessee, it's hot out there.
Yeah, Tennessee gets cold. It gets cold. It snows in Tennessee.
Not Green Bay
cold.
Green
Bay cold. And last game, Monday Night Football, Buffalo at New England.
We gotta go, Pats.
Maybe they could ruin something. So
that's all we got to look forward to.
Yeah. All right, and that is a wrap. All right, if you want to catch more, go to LCTV after the whistle. We got college basketball highlights. You know, Boston College and Maine highlights on there. We also got the post-game press conferences on there. We got a bunch of stuff on there on LCTV after the whistle Instagram page. Go to lyntv.org to catch up on everything that we're doing. Lynn Community Television, Facebook, get notifications, updates, COVID updates, everything going on in the city. We put up updates on there. Mr. Burton 23 on Instagram, Mukala K on Instagram. Thank you everybody who's been watching the show. We appreciate all the people that watch it. You know, we'll be back in a couple more weeks, but we appreciate everybody who watches the show. Couldn't do it without you guys. And happy holidays and see ya in 2021. Hopefully it's not as crazy. Peace out.